Welcome back to another episode on Happily Ever After. I am Martin and this is my wife Debbie, and we are
The
the Raj
Raj
family.
family.
Today we are going to talk about something that is vital. A lot of young people keep asking us, and that is something we also have a burden to share. We want to share our experience. We want to share what we went through. Is there something that we are doing that it might hinder us from having true love? So basically the topic is, what are some things, maybe habits, that is hindering us from having true love?
We were single for many years.
Yes.
And we experienced a lot of all the drama that singleness comes with. When people are trying to find someone, where we are trying, others as well, and all of the question marks sometimes that comes and the challenges. So we were there not so long ago. We still remember how it impacted us, and we want to share because as we see young people being like, I'm going through this, and guys saying it's so hard, girls are confusing in this, and girls saying guys are not really initiators and leaders, they don't know what they want. We're like, we see the patterns, we've experienced them ourselves before, and now we see it still repeating. So if we don't change us when we are singles, we might be killing what we're trying to find. So, what are some things, sweetie, that from your experience, you think it's one of those killers? And let's be very open. You can talk as a guy,
Absolutely.
I can talk as a girl, and so we can give hints to all of those girls. They're asking, what are guys looking for? Or girls saying, what's going on with the guys? Here we are to share from our experience and perspective.
For me, the first one is leading the guy on. Leading the guy on. Basically, when you're spending a lot of time with this guy, you are chatting with him, constantly texting, and then every now and then you're on call and speaking with him. Usually there is something going on, at least in the other person's mind. And maybe the girl is not really thinking about it, but the guy is probably thinking about it. Again, I think we have discussed about this a little bit in a previous episode, where there was a trend that went about where people would record their time with their best friends and just like checking to see, or kissing my best friend to see the reaction. And they kissed. Most of the videos which we've seen, the best friend, so-called best friend, is responding to the kiss with a kiss. Very few, maybe one or two, actually rejected the kiss, especially kissing on the lip. So what does it say? Are we fooling ourselves, or is it truly just friends? Just best friends. In most of the cases, it's not truly just best friends, because there is one of them has interest towards the other. And in my experience also, I have gone through that, because girls talk with me, spend time with me, a lot of time with me, hours and hours together. And then they say, oh, I just see you as a brother. Oh, I just saw you as a just friend. And then it makes me wonder, like, so are all the girls like this? They spend time, they are like, they make you feel special by doing all of these things, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, I'm actually seeing you as a friend. If you say that, then my question right now, like at this point, after going through all that experience, my question right now is, how would you be different with your boyfriend? Like, you wouldn't spend so much time with your boyfriend, or how does it even work? How does
You
it
keep up with few guys spending so much time.
Exactly.
Like if you have a boyfriend plus his other good friends,
exactly?
is that all you do?
Yeah. So it definitely confuses you. And when it comes to a point where this girl, not just one girl, few girls doing these things to, let's say, I will put myself as an example. I go to this girl, and then good friends, and then she's spending time, and then she says, oh no, I'm just seeing you as a friend. And then I go I find another girl, spend time with her, and she's doing the same thing. A lot of hours just spending chatting, and then all of a sudden it comes to a point where she says, "Oh, I see you just as a brother." If the cycle keeps repeating, then I wouldn't feel comfortable spending time with girls in the first place. Or I might spend time with girls. In my mind, I might be like, okay, maybe this girl is like all the other girls. She's spending a lot of time, and there is nothing more to it. So I will also start to enjoy my time or avoid the girl completely, so that my heart won't get hurt again.
It creates a very superficial and not solid foundation.
Yeah.
Like you're very, this could be this or it can be that, or like you have no clue.
Yeah.
And I know you've mentioned to me a little bit that many times the girls were the ones also reaching out.
Yes. Yeah.
So it really gives a hint like they are really wanting me.
Yeah, it definitely gives the idea that they are interested. I don't know what they are interested in. If they don't want to have a relationship, I don't know what they are interested in. Maybe the attention, I don't know. But if girls keep doing this to guys, they are not going to be interested in girls who spend like that anymore. You know, they would prefer for the girls to openly tell. And even in that case, if they get to share it in the beginning itself, hey, I would like to spend time with you, but I don't have any other intention besides friendship, the guy can make a well-informed decision. Okay, so she's just looking for a friendship, and okay, I don't mind just having a friendship. Or the guy can be like, oh, okay, I am not interested in that type of friendship. I want to be involved with someone, and I can be serious about that, and it's not just friendship, but it can lead somewhere. So the guy can make a well-informed decision if the girls are upfront. But without that, you're just basically leading the guys on in the garb of just friends or just brother.
And by the way, like many good marriages do start with a good friendship.
Absolutely.
So a good friendship doesn't mean that nothing else can develop. Actually, a lot can develop from a good friendship. But I guess just being very honest with ourselves first and then with the other person.
Yeah. And if the guy doesn't want to spend time with you anymore, let him go. Because you made your point clear that you are seeing him just as a friend, and he has a feeling towards you, which is not just friendship, but something more than that. And if he decides to be like, hey, I am not interested in this type of friendship, it's okay for him to move on, and you need to let the guy go.
Okay, so that's, and we have heard from friends currently, like guy friends, that share their frustration or their confusion with the same pattern. They are getting to know someone, they seem very like connected and reciprocating that interest to get to know each other, but then when they give a step like, hey, let's go out and do something, then they're like, oh, I feel it's too personal. And it's like so they are confused, they back off, and if there was any interest or possibility or good outcome for marriage, we're killing it.
Yeah.
We are killing it. We're confusing the opposite gender. And to speak from a woman's perspective, I think we can build, we like friendships, period. With girls, with others. We love that connection, emotional connection. As ladies, we yearn for that. And sometimes it can maybe stay plateau, but not on both sides. And I experienced that early on when I was 13 and I saw this guy just as an older brother, and I had absolutely no interest, but I was very open and friendly, and he had interest. And for years he was praying that I would have interest for him. And I was very clear, like, I'm sorry, I just see you as a friend. And I back off. But in his heart, he was really... So when I would give myself as a full friend and vulnerable and present, many times it would cause feelings on the other person. So I realized that's not really a safe way if I have no interest in that person
Exactly.
for more. Because we are created to be attracted to the opposite gender by God's grace. So it is a beautiful thing, but it can be complicated. Either the other person will develop feelings, you will, or it's going to get a little iffy. The connection sometimes
Yeah.
more vulnerable and intimate than what it should be for healthy boundaries. So, yeah.
And did you face any other experience with guys in that terms? Not necessarily leading you on, but anything else that you feel like you have experienced this and this might be killing a love that could have been genuine?
Well, the main thing, thinking kind of in these lines that I can remember as I went even try online dating for some time, that, and it happened multiple, actually, the more I think, with multiple gentlemen, it happened that they were checking all their options. So I was one of the options they didn't want to let go. So even in a dating site, this good missionary guy, he was like reaching out to me. We talked. I think we called each other. And then he ghosted on me. Like he completely disappeared and there was nothing. So I was like, he's probably not interested. So I moved on. After a month, he's like, hey, just wanted to let you know I'm still here and like I'm okay with having our friendship. I didn't want you to think I disappeared. I was like, well, I thought it was for a reason that you probably... And then he was like, well, I'm actually seeing someone else. And so I'm not interested in more, but at the same time, I would like to keep a friendship. And I just was on this dating site to build friendships. And I was like, I thought the dating site was like for actual looking for marriage. And especially that I made it clear, and I thought others were also looking for that. But I guess he was already kind of moving forward with another girl, but he still didn't want to lose me as an option, I guess, if maybe that didn't work, or through time he realized that was not it. But it was just a little confusing. And I was like, just move forward. I don't want to be in between, like hanging there, like I'm your second option here, waiting when that won't work. So I was like, I'm looking for something serious and, it's cool to be friends, but actually, like, I'm not really looking for that right now. So yeah, that was interesting. And with others, the same thing. They were kind of reaching out, like interested to get to know me and also making me feel special. Like I was such a great friend and I meant so much to them, and they will share their personal things and their health issues and their family situations and everything, that I was like, wow, they're really connecting with me and they're valuing who I am, and, we connect well, we have a good time. So it was kind of sometimes confusing to know what were they thinking. And suddenly when I would show as a girl, like, I'm open to get to know you more, then they would disappear. Like, that scared them. So before, I thought maybe they're insecure. Maybe they just need more time. Maybe they're shy. Maybe... I don't know. I was trying to find out how can I make them not disappear. And later on, it was like they're probably with someone else, or they're just not ready for a serious thing. So just let them go. And that was eye-opening for me, because I was so confused as a lady with all of these guys, similar to the girl situation, but... they would just suddenly disappear. So they would be very like special and in contact and video calls or phone calls and writing special things, and suddenly poof, gone. And I'm too busy. Or if I'm like, hey, can we meet? Oh, I cannot, I'm too busy. So the busy, or the kind of when it came to more real, it was like disappeared. But then after months or even years, they would come back like, hey, now I want to meet you. And maybe I was in a relationship at that time. So it was like, too late, brother. Like, so I think I don't know. As a man, maybe you can explain that a little bit.
I don't know what they were doing. Probably what I might be gathering from what you're sharing is the guys were probably checking out their options. They have several options and go and see, like maybe they planned on meeting up with other girls and try it out, and then if it didn't work out, they came back to you. And that was going to be my next point, actually, seeing you as an option and not someone that they might be truly interested in. So I think that's what might have happened. They might have gone, because for me that has happened too. I was in a friendship with this girl. We both were good friends, and then she disappeared, and then later on I find out that she was interested in a guy, and I'm like, okay. And then later on she comes back and says, oh, if you are interested, I'll be okay with that. And I'm like, okay, but I cannot be an option. I would prefer you to choose me for who I am, not to see like, okay, there are 10 different guys. I need to see who is the best out of this. That is not how I function. Maybe there are people that see it that way, because when God works through things, He makes it very clear. He's not going to give you several options to choose from. And I cannot even imagine how people have the audacity to make those type of statements, and it almost feels like you are the last resort for them, and they have to choose you because there is no one else in the pond, let's say, and you're the last fish, and then they want to get you. And it's a very discouraging and a sad type of thing, because you want someone to be attracted to you, to be drawn to you, to really love you for who you are and what you have as values. Not because, oh, okay, I've seen these options and none of these work, so I will come to you. That really puts people in a bad shape. And that kills true love. And I cannot even understand, how can you be searching, like how can you be trying to figure out, like let's say you have 3 people, how can you actually focus on all 3 people at the same time to decide who would be the best one? If you need to be really invested. If you're really searching for someone, you need to be invested in one person, get to know them in and out. It's not like set of clothes. You go to a store and see if this works or not, and then choose one best out of it. No, it doesn't work that way. Even with God, Adam and Eve, God gave Eve. God didn't give 10 different options for Adam to choose, for the guy to choose. Oh, okay, I have one of these options and let me choose one. It has never been that way.
Wow, so much to think about. Like, as we're sharing, it's just so many years of singleness and
experiences,
interest and failed friendships and whatever. I mean, failed hopes or whatever. But I was just thinking, like, there were a couple guys in my life that were like, this is what I want and I'm willing to wait for you. Like, they sounded very sure, but for different reasons we were not compatible, or I wanted to follow God and they were very shaking that part in their life. So I didn't see God leading, but they were very sure that they wanted me, even though they maybe didn't want God, whatever it was the situation. So in one way I saw those type of guys that were very clear, very sure, like, this is what I want, I'll wait for you, and you're the one, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, well, when someone likes you, they just move forward. Even if you say no, they're willing to,
persistent.
Wait, or some are disrespectful because they want what they want, and others are actually very committed and respectful, but also very, like, I'll be here. Just come back after 5 years or whatever, and it's like, whoa, like, okay, like, whatever. The words are words, and sometimes they don't stand by it, but the clarity of their interest was made clear. Later on, but none of that was my dating phase. That was early 20s, and I was like, whoa, like, love is very straightforward, and you just fall in love, and it just happens, and it's so clear. But later on, it got really complicated because now guys were not very sure of what they wanted, but they would make moves and they felt more committed to God, like we were more matching. But it was very like shaky, like undecisiveness. Like yes, but no, and some would be like, well, I'm thinking of this other person, but I think you might be a good one as well. So it was like, make up your mind. Like, so that was a challenging part, I think, to be faced with so much unwavering or like gray zones. Like it's not this, but it's not that. People have recommended us to meet, so now we know this is serious, but at the same time it goes on with like epistles in writing, phone calls and messages and everything. Very great friendship, but maybe it's just a friendship. And so when we met, I had a lot of that experience with guys that either they want to move forward but they are not sure about you, or they are building a friendship but they're actually with someone else. So I was like, I just need a guy that would make his intentions super clear. And if not, I'm not the one that is supposed to go after them and try to help them figure out.
Absolutely.
So in a way, I chose to be open and do my part to show I was serious, interest, without putting myself out there, but also not making it hard to figure out. Like, I like to spend time with you. Yes, let's do this together. Or like enjoy the moments and be willing and open. So I think that's a huge one, that sometimes we want something, but we seem closed. So that, I would say, is another killer of what we want. If we act too difficult and too complicated, what we want, it might go by. So to be really open and show, if someone wants a friend, show yourself friendly. If you want a relationship, show yourself open for it, and not like, no, and I don't know, and you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that is an important one. Anything else that comes to your mind?
The other one that I would say is flirting. Flirting with everyone. That not only kills your friendship with people, but I would say it is going to affect your reputation even in the future. 10 years down the line, it will still affect your reputation. Imagine if you can see, like, someone is asking, oh, how about this guy, or how about this girl? And then in the high school, this has happened, or even in college, this has happened about that person. That's going to come out, right? We don't know what has changed and what has not changed, but we will say, oh, in high school or in college, this person was flirtatious and they were flirting with everyone. That's a very bad reputation. And you might have changed right now, but that sticks to your resume in terms of relationships.
Your
and
patterns.
yeah, and if you recognize and if you work on it, that is one thing. But if you don't recognize and if you don't want to work on it, even if you recognize, then it's going to become your pattern, and people might like the attention that they get through the flirting, but they wouldn't want you as a husband or a wife because you have put yourself down now. You're not letting the other person to do it, you're doing it yourself, and that is going to cause a lot of rupture in your reputation. And we don't want to have that. So these are some points that we think has been killing people's relationships, right? Is there anything more?
I was thinking, what can we share of practical things that as a gentleman can be done, and as a lady, so that we actually open ourselves to love and relationships in the right way, in the way that it can lead to marriage, to commitment. And we kind of talk of things that destroy and kill the love we want. So if we don't want to stay single, we need to trust God's will and timing, but also there are things that we can do differently. So what would you share, either to the ladies or the guys, and then I can
I think because I have experience with ladies,
Yes, I
I would
think
like to
that's the
share
best.
about ladies and you can share about guys. The first point I would say is for the girls to not lead a guy on. If you see that you're spending a lot of time with this guy and the guy has all the attention for you, you know he's interested in you. It's never like there is nothing going on, because guys do think about those things, they process, and you are leading them on basically. Unless you tell it to them very clearly in the beginning itself, hey, I'm just looking for friendship. And if you are looking for something more than that, I'm sorry, but that is not what I'm looking for. And it will give them an opportunity to make a well informed decision. Let the guy decide if he wants to continue with that type of friendship, or if he wants to back off and not have that friendship in the first place, which he knows will eventually lead to heartbreak.
Good point. I think what I would say to gentlemen from my experience, it's don't flatter with words like you're so special and I like spending so much time with you. Be a friend, but also be very clear where you're at in your life, that, don't be so intimately open and showing like this is something you want to continue, and don't look for it so much. Just give more space if that's not what you want. But if it is something you want to explore, don't be afraid to just say, hey, yes, let's meet or let's make it happen. And I guess what I would tell to ladies as well from my experience is, if a guy is not initiating steps and you are showing yourself to be open and ready, just back off. Back off, because he's not ready, it's not his time, or he's unsure, or he's with something else. So do not think it's your fault or something is not good enough or you need to try harder, because in that you're selling yourself low. Like you're cheap and you're trying to make it happen. So just value your time, your life, and wait for someone that will value it and will chase a little bit after it, will want it and not be like running away like they're afraid from that gift. So we are all a gift. God created us to be a blessing in this world. We have a purpose. And if we find that value that God has given us and we accept it and embrace it, that also I think will help us to be like, I'm not going to waste my time with someone like this. So I think there's those two sides, to value ourselves and not be in situations that are maybe just like hoping for the breadcrumbs or hoping that something will change and kind of pushing and trying that it will happen, but just let the other person feel like they're gonna lose that if they don't put their effort as well. So don't serve it all so easily, like, hey, as a girl, I can go and visit you and I can do this and I can do that to make the relationship happen. Just be friendly, be open, be clear with your body language, the way you express and connect with the guy as a lady. But also if the guy is not showing he's ready, just back off, let it go in your heart and technically, like with your actions. And if the guy really values you, he will come and be like, hey, I want you, like I value you, I miss you, and can we get together? But if he's distracted or with something else or really insecure or whatever, then he won't mind that you leave and you can move forward to the right thing that you need to focus on. So that's for ladies. Don't feel you're less. Just keep moving on. And for guys, hopefully also don't lead girls on with the way you connect and reach out and express, because if someone is interested, that also will be very confusing. So I think it's in a way similar. And yeah, if you feel there's potential, just pray and get to know the person. Don't be afraid to interact. Don't be afraid to get to know each other. That doesn't mean you're going to get married. That only means that you're really intentional, not just playing around or flirting. And that's foundational. If you want to get married, get serious, and you will get a serious relationship.
The other thing I would like to say, again, this will go for both, is that be honest to yourself. What do you want and what are you looking for? And not try to figure out when you're talking with someone, when you're trying to develop this type of friendship or whatnot. That will help you to move forward in friendship as well, because you're not trying to figure out, okay, this person makes a lot of money but this one is pretty. You know what I mean? So you don't know, your values are all messed up, you don't even know clearly who you want, and you're trying to figure out how many options you have. Will this work, or will this work, or will this work? You will never be able to figure out something like that, and especially if the other person knows about that, they're going to be really hurt and they're going to back off from it. So know what you want and know what you don't want, and what you don't want, don't lead them on. You know, and if you know what you want, move forward. Don't be scared, don't be how do I say, don't be too picky about it, but move forward and see if this is something God has kept for you.
And I think another point that I will add is sometimes, especially in conservative circles, we feel if we say we like this person, we have to get married. Like,
Yeah.
if I show, well, if we don't say anything and we're flirting and showing interest without the words, we feel we can go all over. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if we express our feelings, or it's basically like we're engaged and we're getting married next year, that's not necessary. Like, we can be open, like, hey, I like you and I enjoy spending time with you and I would like to get to know you. It's okay to say that we value someone and that we like them, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean we love them or that's the person we will marry. So be very honest with yourself and with the other person, and don't be afraid to share your feelings to a certain extent. Don't act so cold that you're trying to be so holy or guarded that you're confusing yourself and the other person with just, is there any interest here? No, I value, you're good, but I don't see getting together with you. And I had to say that, and I think we all have had those situations where there's very wonderful people,
Yeah,
but we don't
yeah.
see God leading us with that person for more. And we can also be clear with that. But we need to act according to our word. So don't be afraid to get to know someone, but at the same time, don't be pushy and rushy, because we've heard from guys afraid of girls wanting to get married right away and kind of being intense in the relationship, and from girls that the guys sometimes are intense. So we see that as well as something that kills the flow of love, is when we are too intense, like, I want to get to know you and I want to get married right away. And even though when we met, Martin was sure I was the one and he wanted to marry me, we also gave each other space to just grow in our love and our experience. And I think that is foundational, to
Yeah.
not put pressure if we're getting to know someone, that because we're getting to know and one person feels this is the one, maybe the other person feels they want to get to know them more. Not to spiritualize so much.
Yeah.
I think this is God's will, or I know you're the one, so like you better not change that because this is God's will.
Yeah.
We cannot put that pressure. We will kill love if we have that attitude, or if we're stressed to get married. So even if we're getting older as ladies, we need to relax so that love can grow and something beautiful can happen. So it's kind of that flow of being in tune with each other, with other person, and letting things naturally develop and not kind of be like, this is where I want, and pushing that other person. And as we work with young people, we see that as well. Like, some people are like, let's start a relationship now.
Yeah.
And the other
yeah.
person feel like, I met you just a few days ago, like, I'm not ready yet. And so the guilt and the pressure, that kills love.
Totally. I mean, I really think that is a very important point, not pressuring people into relationship using God's name. God specifically said, you shall not use the name of the God in vain. Because people have that mindset of like, hey, I do believe we are the ones to be together, and God has brought us together. We need to start the relationship, or whatever excuse that they might give. They might make it very spiritual and make it sound like it has to happen. If not, you're going against God's will. That's basically spiritual manipulation, and we don't want that type of thing. And yeah, absolutely, it kills love. It doesn't help people to fall in love. It actually makes people to run away from you, and not just you. It will make people run away from God as well, because you are bringing God's name in vain, and you don't want that type of mindset when you are trying to find, or you are in a relationship. You don't want to force someone else, especially using God's name.
Those are huge points, and we've seen it in our life. We still see it in singles now, and they're struggling, and they're asking like, what do you think? This is so confusing, or I don't get it. So just pray about it and analyze if you have maybe some of this love killers type of patterns, and ask God to give you the freedom so that you can let go of things that kill love and be clear, have healthy boundaries, but also be a friend and open in the right times. And yeah, God will lead and bless. So we will end for now, and we hope this was a blessing, thought-provoking, and just giving you some perspective and hope as well, that even though we as a society have created terrible patterns that we confuse others and ourselves, there's hope. And there
Amen.
are amazing people out there that are looking as well for a good relationship. So may God bless you, and we will see you in the next episode.